Hi everyone, I'm Tracy, an undergrad researcher at Stanford University, and today I'll be presenting our joint work on applying generative AI for our alt text Wikipedia, specifically examining the question, can LLMs improve image accessibility on Wikipedia? And this is joint work with Tiziana Picardi, Miriam Reddy, and Michael Bernstein. So, our motivation for the work comes from the issue of how more than 300 million people worldwide are estimated to have visual impairments. And for these individuals, online visual content is accessible primarily through screen readers, which rely on alt text, a descriptive attribute of image HTML. However, on English Wikipedia, 94% of images lack alt text, which makes them inaccessible to blind and visually impaired users, or BLV users. Images are not merely decorative on Wikipedia, they convey essential information that support reader information need when navigating through article contents. For BLV users, the absence of such alt text could also limit their learning and interaction with Wikipedia content. Therefore, making images accessible is crucial to ensuring equitable access to digital information. However, several challenges do contribute to the lack of alt text on platforms like Wikipedia. First off, writing alt text can be difficult and time consuming for contributors, which is exacerbated by a lack of clear alt text writing guidelines. Additionally, many users are unsure about what constitutes as good alt text and lack confidence in their ability to write it. We think that AI-based tools could support editors in this work, but it remains unclear whether these tools can help platforms like Wikipedia consistently produce high-quality alt text. Thus, in this ongoing work, we evaluate the quality of alt text generated by a large multimodal model, GPT-4o, to explore how generative AI can support Wikipedia editors in crafting higher quality alt text and improving web accessibility. We test several prompting strategies to identify which approach produces the best results. Specifically, we adapt Wikipedia's alt text guidelines and assess how explicitly incorporating these rules into the prompt will affect the quality of the generated alt text. In addition, we examine the role of image context, as studied in previous work, to better understand how providing surrounding text around the image will influence the quality of the generated alt text. So, our goal with our work is to provide recommendations on prompting strategies for generating more accurate, higher quality alt text, and towards a vision of a mixed initiative workflow for editors to review and further refine AI generated alt text suggestions. These findings would have implications for the design of new tools to better support editors in writing high quality alt text, which would ultimately contribute to making a more accessible Wikipedia. To examine the impact of enriching model prompts with both guidelines and the context surrounding the image, and to assess the impact of each individual component as well as combined impact, we evaluate four conditions that correspond to four versions of the prompt, as pictured in this chart. So, first, no context and no guidelines. Second, context but no guidelines. Third, guidelines but no context. And fourth, both context and guidelines. So for the guidelines that we fed the model, we compiled a set of six guidelines by adapting the tips for creating alt text section that was developed for the suggested edits tool in the Wikipedia iOS app. And this slide shows a sample output of all four variations of the alt text. So in our original submission, we discussed preliminary results from our crowdsourced study, and these crowd workers represent the average Wikipedia reader. Since the original submission, we made further progress that I'm very happy to share. We were able to conduct two more studies, the first with experts, or specifically domain experts who are Wikipedia editors with alt text writing experience, and second, BLV users who are the direct users of alt text. So, from a crowdsourced study, our findings showed that criteria and context prompts received the highest number of majority votes. So, that was 1.8 times more majority votes than criteria and no context prompt, which was the second best performing condition. These results in the graph and data show that providing both criteria and context significantly improves the perceived quality and accuracy of the generated alt text. And our expert study supports these crowdsourced study findings, as experts also show preference for criteria and context prompts, which received 26.5% overall votes. And based on the expert comments, we were also able to consolidate four categories of recurring flaws in AI generated alt text, specifically accuracy, relevance, formatting and screen reader friendliness, and inclusivity and representation. Our BLV study also supported our earlier findings, as across all four metrics that we used in this study, the criteria and context prompted alt text achieved significantly higher ratings. So, with our work, we acknowledge that there are risks of generating and deploying inaccurate, biased, and low quality alt text, as well as issues with model hallucination. And we also know that BLV users will often prefer no alt text over inaccurate alt text. So, to address these harms, we see this being a mixed initiative editing workflow where AI written alt text is prompted with context and guidelines, and then is accompanied with AI generated suggestions that focus on particular problem areas from the expert study. And this would help editors craft higher quality alt text more quickly and efficiently, and accelerate the creation of more accessible content on Wikipedia while still maintaining its quality standards. And we understand that Wikipedia prioritizes open source and open weight models, so we would see that as future work to explore the implications beyond just GPT 4.0. And in our BLV user study, we noted that many participants had individual preferences when it came to alt text, so this could be an interesting um, future direction in BLV user personalization. But yes, thank you so much for your time, and that is all for the presentation.